right, so get ready, because we're about to take a deep dive into some seriously fascinating stuff.
I'm ready.
You know, you've sent us this whole collection of conversations and notes about karma and consciousness and this whole world of Abhidharma Buddhism.
Right.
It really seems like you're trying to get to the bottom of some really big questions about reality,
There's
right?
big stuff, yeah.
Yeah, so we've got these really insightful dialogues between Pasan, who's a Sri Lankan Buddhist with like deep knowledge of Abhidharma, and Mystica, who's asking all the questions, you know, that you've probably thought about too.
For sure.
And we're going to unpack it all together to see what Abhidharma really has to say about karma, how our minds work,
Right.
even where modern science might be catching up.
Well, yeah, I think what's really interesting is that you've chosen
Right.
to explore Abhidharma,
Yeah.
which is often called Buddha's final research paper.
Yeah, like a deep dive.
It's a deep exploration of existence itself.
Right. Not just beliefs or rituals, but like the nuts and bolts of how things work.
The actual mechanics, yeah.
Yeah, and Pasan kicks things off with this incredible analogy to describe karma. He asks Mystica to picture a steel cube filled with, you know, those tiny little razor balls you find in fidget toys. You know those things?
Got it.
And imagine this cube is just floating in space. And suddenly something bumps into one of those balls.
Oh.
What happens next?
Well, I imagine the energy
from
that tiny little touch starts rippling out, hitting more and more balls. And suddenly you've got this chaotic chain reaction happening inside the cube.
And here's the thing that Pasan points out. That the initial touch, the very first action that sets off this whole karmic cascade, often happens outside of our conscious awareness.
Oh, wow.
Right.
So we don't even know what's happening.
So no wonder we sometimes feel like we're caught in this web of cause and effect that we don't even understand.
Like we're playing a game.
Yeah.
But we don't know all the rules.
Exactly.
But Abhidharma wants to give us a deeper understanding of how these forces are shaping our experiences.
Okay, so let's get into Abhidharma itself.
Okay.
You know, Pasan keeps calling it Buddha's final research paper, like a user manual for the universe.
I like that.
He emphasizes it's not about blind faith, it's about understanding the underlying mechanics of reality.
How it actually works.
Yeah.
So fascinating how he presents it almost like a science of consciousness.
Yeah.
He dives into these core concepts of nama and rupa.
Right.
And he's very careful to explain that most people get them wrong.
Well, yeah, he uses this analogy about an asteroid.
Okay.
He says just calling an asteroid by your name doesn't mean you understand its properties.
You need more information.
Yeah, you need to analyze its composition, its trajectory, all that stuff.
It's the same with nama and rupa.
Yeah.
They're not simply name and form.
Right.
Like some basic translation might tell you. They represent the fundamental building blocks of existence.
Okay.
Mental and physical energies and characteristics.
So nama is the mental stuff.
Yes.
Thoughts, intentions, emotions, all that kind of stuff.
The software running in the background.
Yeah, and rupa is everything.
Yes.
With physical properties,
Right.
even if we can't see them.
Like a living human.
Yeah.
Possesses both nama and rupa.
Okay.
But a statue of Buddha, while it has form, lacks that animating nama, that inner spark of consciousness.
So that's the difference between a being and a thing.
Exactly.
Like living, breathing energy.
Yeah.
Versus just static form.
And this leads us to another key concept in Abhidharma.
Okay.
Sankalpa.
Okay.
Pasan describes this as how our minds create concepts and labels to make sense of the world around us.
Like how we call a collection of wood planks a table. Even though if you really think about it, it's just a bunch of wood arranged in a certain way.
Pasan's point is that these labels, these concepts we create, can become a kind of illusion. They can prevent us from seeing the true nature of things.
He says it's like if you keep breaking down that table, first into wood chips, then sawdust.
Right.
The idea of table disappears.
What's left is just the raw material, the basic building block.
Yeah, and Sankalpa is that process of imposing our human concepts onto reality.
Right.
So Buddha was encouraging us to see through those mental constructs.
To perceive reality on a deeper level.
Okay, now let's talk about our minds in action.
All right.
Pasan brings up Chittarithi, the flow of thoughts. And this is where it gets really interesting.
Okay.
Abhidharma says that even when we think,
Right.
We're multitasking like crazy. Our minds are actually processing thoughts one at a time in super rapid sequence.
Like a high-speed film reel.
Yeah.
Where each thought is a single frame flashing by so quickly that we perceive it as continuous motion.
It's like our minds are tricking us into thinking we're doing multiple things at once, when really it's just this rapid-fire sequence happening beneath the surface.
This insight has huge implications for how we understand attention and focus.
Yeah.
Maybe true multitasking is more of an illusion.
Okay, so how does Abhidharma say we can actually slow down this thought train?
That's where practices like meditation come in.
Okay.
Training the mind to become aware of this flow of thoughts.
Got it.
To observe them without getting swept away.
All right. Are you ready for another
I think so.
mind-bending concept?
Lay it on me.
Okay. Pasan drops this bombshell called Utpalatithi Bangla.
Okay.
It's the idea that everything, our body's thoughts, even the universe itself, is constantly arising, sustaining for a tiny moment, and then vanishing at an incredible speed.
So it's essentially impermanence taken to the extreme.
Yeah.
Everything is in constant flux. A continuous dance of creation and destruction.
And Pasan uses this mind-blowing analogy to explain it. He compares it to those LED fans that create images by flashing lights incredibly fast.
Yeah.
We see a solid image, but it's really just a rapid sequence of light and darkness.
Buddha was saying that's how all of reality works. What we perceive as solid and enduring is actually a series of fleeting moments. Arising and vanishing at an unimaginable speed.
Wait, so our bodies, our thoughts, our whole experience of reality.
In a way, yes.
Okay.
And this is where the Buddhist concept of no self comes in.
Right.
If everything is in constant flux, then there's no permanent, unchanging self to hold on to.
Right.
It's just this flow of experience.
Whoa, I'm going to need a minute.
It is a radical idea.
Yeah.
But Abhidharma provides a framework for understanding it.
Right.
For seeing how this impermanence is woven into the very fabric of existence.
So if there's no solid self, what does that mean for our actions and their consequences?
That's a great question.
Yeah, how does karma even work in this fluid, ever-changing reality?
Abhidharma doesn't shy away from these big questions.
Okay.
It offers detailed explanations of how karma operates within this framework of impermanence.
All right, so let's unpack that.
Okay.
Pasan talks about how we actually accumulate merit or good karma. Right.
Through our actions. But it turns out there are two distinct types.
I bet it's not as simple as just doing good deeds.
Right. More nuanced than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, he explains that one type of merit called pina is physical. It's like when you do something good, it actually creates a specific type of atom or element within you.
So good actions have a real physical impact on our being.
And then there's kusalaya, which is more about the non-physical merit.
So it's less about external rewards and more about cultivating wisdom and purity of mind.
So it's not just about doing good deeds, but about refining our inner world, our thoughts and intentions.
Both types of merit contribute to our overall karmic balance, influencing our experiences in this life and beyond. But this leads to another intriguing point that Pasan brings up.
Abhidharma knowledge itself isn't inherently good or bad. It's a powerful tool that can be used for both beneficial and, well, more strategic purposes.
He's not taking this lightly.
He's not.
So this knowledge comes with a huge responsibility, right?
It's a big one.
It's not just about understanding the mechanics of reality. It's about using that understanding ethically.
Absolutely.
Wow, this is heavy stuff.
It is.
But I'm hooked.
Me too.
I feel like we've only just scratched the surface of the Abhidharma.
Sure.
But my mind is already buzzing with all these new insights.
Yeah, mine too. And the most exciting part is this knowledge is available to anyone willing to explore it.
It's not an exclusive club or a secret path.
It's an invitation to understand the very nature of reality itself.
And that brings us to the most important question of all. How does all of this relate to you, the listener, and your unique journey?
That's the big question.
Yeah.
That's what it all comes down to.
Yeah.
It really does make you think.
Yeah.
The fact that he's so open about the potential for both good and bad applications shows just how profound this knowledge is.
Not your.
It's powerful stuff.
Typical self-help system.
No, it's not.
He shares this analogy.
Okay.
He learned from a monk.
All right.
Imagine you're getting ready for a trip.
Okay.
And you've got this backpack.
Got it.
And as you're walking down the street, you're picking up all sorts of things, some good, some not so good, and you just toss them all in the bag without really looking.
I can see where this is going.
Exactly. Later on, when you're hungry, you reach into the backpack without peeking and grab whatever you can.
Whatever's in there.
Right, and if you mostly packed fruits and healthy snacks,
you're in luck.
You're in luck.
Yeah.
But if you threw in a bunch of...
let's just say...
less desirable items. You might end up with something you really regret.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And Pasan uses this to illustrate the principle of cultivating
positive karma.
It's not about erasing all the negative karma you might have accumulated.
Right. It's about shifting the probabilities in your favor.
I like that.
The more good you put in, the more likely you are to experience positive outcomes.
It's a brilliant analogy because it really highlights the proactive nature of working with karma.
Right.
We're not just
passive recipients.
Passive recipients of fate.
Right. We have the power to shape
our
experience
by consciously choosing what we pack into our karmic backpack.
It's almost like stacking the deck in your favor, right? You can't control what card you'll draw.
Right.
But you can make it more likely.
You can make it more likely.
You get a good one.
You get a good one.
Exactly.
But as you said, there are no guarantees.
Right.
And Pasan is quick to point out that karma doesn't just magically vanish. It's not like hitting a reset button.
So even if you start making better choices and accumulating more positive karma, the stuff you packed in there earlier,
it's still
they're still lurking.
It's lurking
at the bottom of the backpack.
That's a great way to put it.
Yeah.
It's like that concept of first in, last out from computer science.
Okay.
You can keep adding positive actions to the top of the stack.
Right.
But those older, maybe less skillful actions are still down there.
So enlightenment isn't about deleting your karmic history.
I don't think so.
It's about transcending the whole system.
That's a really insightful way to think about it.
Like rising above the need for a backpack altogether.
Until we reach that point of transcendence.
Yeah.
It's about consistently adding more good to counterbalance the not so good.
It makes me think about how Buddha's teachings, including Abhidharma,
seems so relevant even today.
Well, that's because what Buddha was teaching are Akalika Dhamma.
Okay.
Timeless truth.
Timeless truth.
These principles aren't bound by any specific era or culture.
Right.
They're universal insights into the nature of reality itself.
Okay, so let's go back to this idea.
Okay.
That Abhidharma is like having the source code to reality. Pasan mentions this concept of Paramartha Dharma.
Yeah.
Which Buddha described as the ultimate fundamental building blocks of existence.
And if you think about it, that's what quantum physics is exploring too.
Right.
The fundamental particles and energies that make up everything in the universe.
Right.
Like they're both trying to map out the most basic elements of reality.
Yeah.
Just from different perspectives.
It makes you wonder if Buddha,
I know, right?
with his profound understanding
of the mind and reality, would have been a brilliant physicist.
Oh, absolutely.
If he were alive today.
Imagine the conversations he could have.
I know, right?
With scientists today.
Yeah.
Mind-blowing.
Speaking of mind-blowing, Pasan then makes this connection to yogis and ascetics who seem to possess extraordinary abilities.
You know, like those stories?
Right.
About people surviving on light or air alone?
Yeah, those stories always seem...
They do.
So fantastical.
Fantastic.
But Pasan suggests that if you truly master your mind, you can manipulate those fundamental building blocks of reality, the Paramartha Dharma, and essentially rewrite the rules of the game.
Like those yogis
have
learned to hack the system from the inside out.
It really highlights the potential of human consciousness, doesn't it?
Yeah.
If reality is ultimately energy and information, then perhaps the mind,
which is also a form of energy and information, might have a far greater capacity to influence reality
than we currently understand.
Yeah,
it's like they've tapped into a level of control that most of us can't even fathom.
Exactly.
And who knows, maybe one day science will catch up and be able to explain those seemingly mystical feats in a way that makes sense to our modern understanding.
So we've talked about karma.
We have.
Consciousness. Even a bit about quantum physics.
A little bit?
But Pasan then brings things back to something a bit more practical. Eating.
I remember this part.
Yeah.
It was about Buddha's advice. To chew your food 32 times before swallowing.
32 times.
Always seemed like a random number to me.
I know, right?
Yeah.
But Pasan explains that Buddha wasn't just picking a number out of thin air. He was talking about breaking down the food to its most basic absorbable form. Something called ghee, which is like a smooth paste. It's about maximizing the efficiency.
That makes so much more sense.
Yeah,
it's not just about good digestion. It's about refining matter to its most fundamental state.
Exactly. And it connects back to this idea of working with the smallest building blocks of reality. Buddha was essentially teaching a method for optimizing our energy intake.
At a micro level.
It's
fascinating how these seemingly simple practices can have such profound implications when you understand the deeper principles behind them.
It makes you wonder how many other everyday activities could be
Yeah.
transformed into powerful practices if we approach them.
With that same level of awareness.
I think that's the beauty of Abhidharma. It gives us a framework for seeing the interconnectedness of everything. For understanding how even the most mundane actions can be opportunities for spiritual growth.
Okay, get ready for another analogy.
Okay, I'm ready.
Because Pasan says that learning traditional Buddhism is like black box hacking.
Okay.
While Abhidharma is like white box hacking.
Now that's an interesting comparison. So in black box hacking, you're trying to figure out how something works from the outside, observing its inputs and outputs. You don't know what's going on inside.
You don't have access.
But with white box hacking,
to the source code.
You have access to the source code.
You can see exactly how everything is wired.
How it functions. It takes the guesswork out of the equation.
So with traditional Buddhism, you're practicing meditation, cultivating compassion, following the precepts.
But you might not fully grasp the underlying mechanics of why these practices work.
But Abhidharma gives you a peek under the hood.
Precisely.
It gives you the source code.
It does.
To reality itself.
The reality itself.
It explains the mechanics of consciousness, karma, rebirth.
All of it.
All of it.
So you're not just blindly following a path.
You understand. But how the whole system operates. It's like the difference between following a recipe and understanding the chemistry behind why certain ingredients work together to create the final dish.
Abhidharma empowers you to make choices based on knowledge and insight. Not just faith or tradition.
So instead of just wandering through the forest, you have a detailed map.
You do.
Showing you the terrain, the landmarks, all the possible paths.
It allows you to move from a state of reactivity to proactivity. You become the architect of your own experience.
This has been an incredible journey so far.
It really has.
I feel like we've barely scratched the surface.
I know.
Of Abhidharma. But my mind is already buzzing.
Yeah, me too. And the most exciting part is this knowledge is available to anyone willing to explore it.
It's not an exclusive club or secret path.
It's an invitation to understand the very nature of reality itself.
And that brings us to the most important question of all. How does all this relate to you, the listener?
The listener.
And your unique journey? Welcome back to our deep dive. We've been exploring all these inner workings of reality.
It has been a journey.
How our actions kind of create these ripples. Yeah. How our minds, try to make sense of everything, and how all these little tiny moments really add up to shape our lives.
It's fascinating how Abhidharma offers this framework for understanding not just what's happening, but why it actually matters.
Yeah. And we've seen how,
we have.
Our actions, our thoughts, even the smallest choices.
It all matters.
They all weave together to create this.
Yeah, this tapestry of our experience.
It's like Buddha gave us this cosmic instruction manual, breaking down how existence itself works.
Yeah.
But the big question is, what does all this mean for you, the listener?
The listener. What can you do with this knowledge?
What can you actually do with this knowledge?
Based on what you sent in, it seems like you're drawn to this idea that Buddhism, especially Abhidharma, isn't just about belief or blind faith. It's a system for understanding how things actually work.
Yeah, like decoding the source code?
Almost like decoding the source code of reality.
It's like you're looking for a deeper level of understanding, a way to see beyond the surface, and grasp the fundamental principles.
Yeah, the principles that govern everything.
And this desire for this deeper knowledge aligns with a key concept in Abhidharma. Kusalaya. The cultivation of wisdom and purity of mind.
Yeah, it's not about external rewards or material gains.
It's about refining your understanding.
It's about refining your understanding
of how things truly work.
How they actually work.
Like leveling up your consciousness.
Leveling up your consciousness, exactly.
Not just your circumstances.
And remember, this journey of understanding isn't about becoming some perfect saint or denying those challenging parts of ourselves.
We talked about Pasan's honesty.
Yeah.
Admitting.
Yeah, he has an evil mind.
Yeah, that he has an evil mind.
It's about acknowledging the full spectrum of human experience.
The good, the bad.
The good, the bad, all the messy stuff in between.
So Abhidharma isn't afraid.
No, it's not.
To look at the raw code.
The raw code of reality.
Even the parts that make us uncomfortable.
Even the parts that make us uncomfortable.
But here's the key. With understanding comes responsibility.
Big responsibility.
Pasan's example about potentially influencing someone's karma.
At the moment of death.
At the moment of death really highlighted this.
It did.
The tools of Abhidharma.
Powerful tools.
Can be used to build or destroy.
To heal or to harm.
To heal or to harm. It's a powerful reminder.
It is.
That knowledge alone isn't enough.
It's not enough.
It's not just about acquiring knowledge. It's about using it ethically and wisely.
It's about aligning your actions with your values.
And
understanding the impact your choices have.
Both on yourself.
On yourself.
And the world around you.
Exactly. And that brings us back to that backpack analogy. We're constantly filling our karmic backpacks with the choices we make. The thoughts we cultivate. The actions we take.
The key is to be
more conscious.
More conscious of what we're packing.
Of what we're packing in there.
To be mindful of the ingredients we're putting into the recipe of our lives. Knowing that each choice.
Every choice.
Creates that ripple effect.
Creates a ripple effect.
Now, Pasan had one final thought that I think is worth mentioning. He said that studying Abhidharma is like being given the tools for white box hacking.
White box hacking.
You're given access to the source code of existence.
You're given the source code.
It's itself.
The question is...
what
will you do with that knowledge?
Will you use it?
Will you use it to create more suffering? To manipulate and control for personal gain?
Or will you use it to cultivate wisdom? For compassion and create a more positive ripple effect.
In the universe.
That's the ultimate challenge, isn't it?
It is.
To take this profound knowledge. And make the world a better, kinder, more enlightened place.
The choice is always ours.
And
this journey of understanding, like Abhidharma teaches, is a lifelong adventure.
It's a lifelong adventure. Thanks for joining us.
It's been a pleasure.
For this deep dive into karma consciousness and the science of Buddhism.
Until next time.